Clark County Today is presented by Connell Real Estate. Hire an agent, get a team. Learn more by visiting connellrealestate.com.
Hey everyone, Chris Brown here with your Friday edition of the ClarkCountyToday.com video update. A request by Oregon Governor Kate Brown for more law enforcement help with the nightly unrest and violence in downtown Portland continues to be turned down. Already, agencies in Washington County, Clackamas County, and Gresham have said their officers will not be going to Portland to help. Now, the Clark County Sheriff's Office and Vancouver Police have said their officers also will no longer be assisting Portland Police. Sheriff Chuck Atkins told Clark County Today that Oregon's refusal to indemnify Washington law enforcement officers played a role in his decision. Deputies had been used in Portland for 5 days back in June, but Atkins says they couldn't justify the continued expense and risk. VPD Public Information Coordinator Kim Kapp said much the same. Vancouver officers went across the river 11 times, the last of which was on June 16th. But Kapp says the danger to personnel, potential liability, and lack of legal consequences for many of the people being arrested led them to pull back their assistance. Well, 27 more people have tested positive for COVID-19 in Clark County since yesterday, and that brings the total in the past week to 181 new cases with 2 additional fatalities over the last weekend. That brings us to 2,715 confirmed cases and 51 deaths. As of today, there are 18 confirmed and 7 suspected cases in Clark County hospitals. Now, public health officials are urging people to take precautions over the Labor Day weekend. The current case rate puts us in the moderate risk category, but Public Health Officer Dr. Alan Melnick said he needs to see us stay below the high risk range of 75 new cases per 100,000 people for 3 weeks after Labor Day before recommending that schools can begin to reopen for some in-person classes. Well, after next Tuesday's meeting of the Vancouver Public Schools Board of Directors, the Columbia River Chieftains may be a part of the past. But as we hear from Paul Valencia, there are many who agree the imagery needs to change, but they'd like to see the Chieftains name remain.
A couple of board members from Vancouver Public Schools have recommended that Columbia River retire its name and logo. If it is offensive, no reason to keep it, they say. However, there are many within the Columbia River community that want to keep the name Chieftains. Yes, get rid of the imagery, change the imagery, but keep the name. The name, they say, is all about leadership, and at Columbia River, they want to build leaders. Those who support the name want to make Columbia River a center of Native American culture and education. In fact, they have been working with local tribes in the last couple of years to make that happen. Also in recent years, the sports teams have gone to the CR logo as opposed to the human form image. They also say many Native Americans agree with them. Change the imagery, save the name. This subject is likely to appear on the agenda of the September 8th school board meeting. For more reaction from both sides on this issue, please check out our story on ClarkCountyToday.com.
All right, thanks so much for that, Paul. We'll check back in with you again here in just a little bit. Grateful but unsatisfied. Those words could sum up the mood of the Clark County Council this week upon learning that the state is preparing to send another $9.7 million in CARES Act funding their way. Clark County Public Health is also getting a separate $9.7 million allotment. The funding brings the total received by Clark County to just over $46 million, but that's still nearly $35 million less than the county believes they should have received. The state is also sending nearly $5 million to the area for rental eviction assistance. During a meeting this week, council members said they're grateful for the additional funding, but it still leaves them unable to respond to a long list of needs in the community, including keeping businesses operating, renting space for homeless shelters, and further housing assistance. The council is working to craft another letter to Governor Jay Inslee, urging him to force the Office of Financial Management to release their full funding amount. Well, a week from tomorrow, the northbound span of the interstate bridge on I-5 will shut down for 9 days during that massive trunnion replacement project. Now, the project is expected to create a traffic nightmare in the morning and afternoon. To try and get ahead of that, Washington transportation officials have been working to install new ramp meters along southbound ramps from 78th Street to SR 14 at Washington Street. And those meters, which were switched on for the first time yesterday, will be used during the morning rush hour to try and limit the amount of traffic merging onto the freeway way at one time. C-Tran buses are also now able to use the left shoulder when freeway traffic dips below 35 miles per hour, as you can see here. And starting next Tuesday, WashDOT will start switching on new signage along I-5 southbound from 99th Street to the bridge, along with sensors that can detect traffic and weather conditions in real time. The hope is that this new traffic management system can help to limit problems during the trunnion replacement project, which you can bet we'll be talking a whole lot more about next week. Speaking of transportation projects, the Southwest Washington Regional Transportation Council wants your input on $422 million in traffic improvements planned for the area over the next 3 years. We've posted some details on how to view the list of projects and provide your input in our story at ClarkCountyToday.com. Some of those major projects include $98 million to rebuild the Mill Plain interchange along I-5, $44 million for part of the Interstate Bridge replacement project, $25 million to widen a stretch of SR-14 between 164th and I-205, as well as the Bus Rapid Transit project for C-Tran along the Mill Plain corridor between downtown Vancouver and 192nd Avenue. And there's also money set aside for the upcoming I-5 interchange project at 179th Avenue near the fairgrounds. Again, to see a list of projects and a link to provide your input, check out our story at ClarkCountyToday.com. All right, pop quiz time. Can you guess just how many high school football games our own Paul Valencia has covered for Clark County readers over the years? Well, he's about to tell you, but he won't be adding to that total tonight in what should have been week 1 of the high school football season. Here's Paul with more.
Happy Friday to you all. It's not the happiest of Fridays, though. This is supposed to be week 1 of high school football in Washington. Not happening, is it? But today, I had to wear a football jersey to salute the student athletes of Washington who marched on Olympia, going to a rally to support fall sports, asking government leaders to start fall sports now. Hey, it gives us a little bit of hope, and I appreciate it. Tonight, it would have been my 398th game covering high school football in Clark County. Oh, I'll get there one day, but don't know when. But yep, game number 397, Camus's victory over Bothell to win the state championship last year. Game 1 was Skyview over Columbia River back in 2001. I hope to cover a lot more high school football in the future, and I hope the future starts real soon.
All right, Paul, thanks so much for that update. And that is your check of the stories that we're following for you on this Friday at ClarkCountyToday.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to see when stories are posted and be part of the conversation. Emails go to news@ClarkCountyToday.com. For all of us, I'm Chris Brown. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great weekend. We'll be back with you again next week.